Imagine finding a book that is more than 600 years old. You open it expecting history. Instead, you find pages filled with strange symbols, impossible-looking plants, mysterious diagrams, unfamiliar constellations, and drawings of people inside bizarre networks of pipes. And then you realize something even stranger. You can't read a single word. Not because the language is ancient Latin, not because the pages are damaged, because nobody knows what language it is. This is the Voynich Manuscript, and despite more than a century of serious attempts to understand it, nobody has produced a translation that has been proven correct. So what exactly is this book, and why has it survived every attempt to unlock its secrets? The manuscript is now known as the Voynich Manuscript, named after Wilfrid Voynich, the Polish-American bookseller who acquired it in 1912. Today, it is preserved at Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. But Voynich didn't create the mystery. The mystery was already centuries old. The manuscript was written in an unidentified script by an unknown author, and its pages contain hundreds of illustrations divided into several strange sections. There are drawings of plants, astronomical and astrological diagrams, human figures surrounded by strange tubes and pools, large circular cosmological illustrations, and pages filled with plants, roots, jars, and what appear to be pharmaceutical materials. Then there are the final pages, mostly text, page after page after page of the same mysterious writing. But here's where the story gets even stranger. The book isn't a modern fake written in the 19th century. Scientific testing places its parchment firmly in the early 15th century. Radiocarbon testing performed on the vellum placed it between roughly 1404 and 1438. That doesn't tell us who wrote it. It doesn't tell us what the symbols mean, but it does tell us something important. The mystery is genuinely old, and that immediately creates a problem, because whoever created this book lived in a world where printing had not yet transformed Europe. Every page had to be written by hand. Every illustration had to be drawn manually. Someone spent an enormous amount of time creating this thing. For what? That's the question. The first confirmed owner we can connect to the manuscript was the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II. At some point, he reportedly paid 600 gold ducats for it because he believed it had been written by the famous English philosopher and scientist Roger Bacon. But that attribution has never been proven. In fact, the manuscript's parchment dates to centuries after Bacon's lifetime, so the first major theory about its author already begins to collapse. But the mystery only grows, because people have been trying to decode the manuscript for centuries. One of the earliest known attempts came from the 17th century. The manuscript was passed between scholars who believed its strange writing might contain some hidden knowledge. One of them, Johannes Marcus Marci, eventually sent it to Athanasius Kircher, a famous Jesuit scholar who had gained a reputation for studying mysterious ancient writing systems. Kircher was asked to help decipher it, but even he couldn't unlock it. And the manuscript continued to move through the hands of scholars, collectors, and antiquarians. Then, in 1912, Wilfrid Voynich acquired it, and this is when the mystery entered the modern age. Voynich believed the manuscript contained an important secret. He promoted the idea that it might have been written by Roger Bacon, but soon, professional cryptographers became interested, and this is where things get fascinating. Because the manuscript doesn't simply look like random scribbles. Its writing has patterns. Certain symbols appear repeatedly. Some groups of symbols occur more often than others. Some sequences seem to behave like words, and different sections appear to use different vocabulary patterns. That has led some researchers to argue that the manuscript could represent a real language. Others believe it may be an encoded language, maybe a cipher, maybe a secret writing system, maybe a constructed language, or perhaps something else entirely. And then there is the possibility nobody wants to completely rule out, that the entire thing could be an elaborate deception. A book designed to look meaningful without actually saying anything. But if that's the explanation, there's another question. Why go to all this trouble? Why create hundreds of pages of consistent-looking symbols? Why fill them with elaborate illustrations? And why preserve such a strange object for centuries? Nobody has a definitive answer. During the 20th century, some of the world's most talented cryptographers became interested in the manuscript. American codebreakers William and Elizabeth Friedman, famous for their work in cryptography, also studied the Voynich problem. Their conclusion was not that they had translated it, they hadn't. Instead, they became convinced that the manuscript might represent an invented language rather than a conventional cipher. But even that remained a hypothesis. No confirmed translation followed. And this is what makes the Voynich Manuscript different from an ordinary unsolved code. With most ciphers, you eventually find the key. You discover the substitution. You identify the language. You recognize the pattern. Then, the message begins to reveal itself. The Voynich Manuscript refuses to cooperate. Every proposed solution seems to explain one part, while creating problems somewhere else. One theory says the plants reveal the answer. Another says the astronomical diagrams are the key. Another suggests the manuscript is medical. Another connects it to alchemy. Others have proposed lost languages, secret societies, cryptographic systems, and deliberate hoaxes. But no proposed interpretation has become the universally accepted translation. And that's the crucial distinction. People have claimed to solve the Voynich Manuscript many times, but claiming to solve it is not the same as proving the solution. A real translation should allow independent researchers to take the proposed method, apply it to the manuscript, and consistently reproduce the same meaning. That has not happened. So after centuries of suspicion, experimentation, cryptography, linguistics, and modern scientific analysis, the book remains silent. And perhaps the strangest part is that we actually know quite a lot about it. We know approximately when its parchment was produced. We know what many of its illustrations look like. We know something about its later ownership history. We know where it is today. We can examine high-resolution images of its pages. We can analyze its physical materials. We can study the patterns of its writing. But the one thing we desperately want to know, what it actually says, remains out of reach. And that leaves us with several possibilities. Maybe it is a genuine scientific or medical work written in a forgotten language. Maybe it contains a sophisticated cipher that nobody has correctly reconstructed. Maybe it represents a lost or invented language. Or maybe the greatest trick is that there was never a hidden message at all. Maybe the mystery itself was the product. But if that were true, the creator would have needed to fool generations of scholars, cryptographers, historians, and linguists. And somehow, the book is still doing it. Today, the Voynich Manuscript sits quietly inside Yale's Voynich Library, a fragile object from a world that disappeared centuries ago. Its pages are open to us. Its images are visible. Its symbols are right there. We can look directly at the words. We just can't understand them. And that's why the Voynich Manuscript remains one of history's strangest puzzles. Not because nobody has tried to translate it, but because so many people have tried, and the book still hasn't given up its secret. Maybe one day someone will finally read it, and when they do, the mystery may disappear. Until then, this 600-year-old book remains a message from the past, written in a language nobody can prove they understand. And perhaps the most haunting question isn't, what does the Voynich Manuscript say? It's this: who wrote a book knowing that centuries later, we would still be trying to figure it out? Subscribe to Lost Timelines for more mysteries from history that still don't have an answer.